Suddenly, my 7-year-old niece, Ashley, came to the hospital room where my unconscious wife was sleeping due to a traffic accident. "Uncle Mark, here, this is for you." "Is this letter for me?" I couldn't hide my confusion as I was handed a letter. Ashley shoved the letter into my chest with her little fingers, as if frustrated by my refusal to accept it. She told me to make sure you read it alone. "Well, I'm going home now." Seriously, what's all this about? Overwhelmed by the unexpected event, I proceeded to check the contents of the letter given to me. This can't be. You've got to be kidding. The shocking truth was written there. As instructed by the letter, I undressed my wife, who continued to sleep in the bed. "My name is Mark." I was staring silently at my wife, Mia, who was lying in a white hospital bed. Why did this happen? With the words finally coming out, I literally held my head in my hands. A few days ago, my wife Mia was involved in a traffic accident and has been unconscious ever since. Mia was now asleep in the hospital bed, linked to many tubes. "Mia." No words returned when I called out to her. Only the sounds of machines and breathing that echo in the quiet hospital room gave me the realization that Mia was still alive. It has been 3 days since Mia was brought to the hospital. During that time, I sat by her side every day, waiting for her to wake up. Occasionally, I held Mia's hand and talked to her. "Mia, it's going to be all right. I'm here with you." I began to say so, but then felt a sense of emptiness. I gently let go of Mia's hand that I was holding. "Do you really want to be with me, Mia?" And a certain doubt crossed my mind. When was the last time I saw Mia smile? I couldn't recall because there has been a long and frigid silence between Mia and me recently. "Hey, Mia, what did you really want to do?" I asked her, but still, no words return. In the silent hospital room, my thoughts wandered to things I didn't want to think about. When was the last time we had a meal together? When was the last time we enjoyed a holiday together? How long has it been since we last slept in the same bed? It hasn't happened in a year. I sighed deeply as I clearly remembered the fact I didn't want to admit. At the same moment, I experienced a miserable emotion, wondering why I was so nervously exhausted. Do I really need to go this far? It's been 3 days. Mia hasn't opened her eyes for 3 days. While thinking in my heart, why do I have to nurse Mia this much? I reminisced about the past. Originally, Mia and I were married after a great love affair. "Mark, you're back." When I came home from work, Mia would greet me with a smile. "I'm home." I'd return her smile, feeling happy. Her smile warmly embraced my heart. Just seeing her smile made me truly think that I'm so glad I married Mia. Yes, married life with Mia was like a dream. "Dinner's ready. You're going to eat right away, right?" "Yes, thank you." We were just having regular days together. Everything was special to me, and I was truly happy. "How is it? Is it good?" "It's great. Thanks for always cooking, Mia." "Hee, you're welcome. I'm thankful to you too, Mark." We laughed together over a warm home-cooked meal. I genuinely believed that this happiness would continue forever as long as I was with Mia. But that happiness suddenly changed about a year ago. I'm home. That day, like usual, I finished work and headed home. "Hey Mia, aren't you home?" The room, usually bright and warm, felt unusually dim and chilly that day. Wondering, I headed to the living room and saw Mia lying on the sofa. "Mia, I'm home. What's wrong? Are you feeling sick?" Worried, I reached out to her gently. Then, Mia quickly sat up, as if avoiding my hand. "Mia, hey, are you okay?" "It's nothing." Mia muttered with a frighteningly expressionless face and got off the sofa, walking away briskly. Mia, what about dinner? If it's not ready yet, I can cook. What would you like to eat? I don't want to eat. I'm going to bed. Without even looking at me, Mia headed to the bedroom. What's the matter with her? I thought she was just in a bad mood that day. I was naively thinking like that. However, Mia's attitude did not return to normal the following day or the day after. Mia, how about we go out this Sunday? It's been a while since we've been out together. I don't want to. I'm tired. Even when I invited her on a date, she coldly refused. Well, I guess it's about time to go to bed. Do whatever you want. I'm sleeping here tonight. Eventually, Mia began to avoid contact with me, opting to sleep on the living room sofa. Hey, Mia, is something wrong? One day, I decided to confront Mia. If there's something bothering you, I want you to talk about it. It's nothing, really. It's clearly not nothing. What's wrong, Mia? You've been acting strange since the other day. What's going on? I said it's nothing. Mia turned around, raising her voice, her face like that of a demon. I froze, and with a glance at me, Mia turned on her heel. Please, just leave me alone. Okay, sorry. Even though I tried to get closer, she only drifted further away. Mia mumbled with her back turned, and all I could do was apologize quickly. Despite her demeanor continuing in this manner, Mia would show a bright and warm expression as if nothing was wrong whenever our parents or relatives visited. Especially with my niece, Ashley, Mia was particularly close. Hey, Mia, let's do a diary exchange. It's really popular at school right now. That sounds great. Then, you can use this notebook. Really? Thank you, Mia. Hee, you're welcome. Ashley is my sister's child, a somewhat precocious 7-year-old girl. Ashley has become quite close with her aunt, hasn't she? You're right. She only refers to me as Uncle Mark and not by my name. Oh, come on. I'd rather be addressed by my name than be referred to as aunt by your child. Do you think so? Yeah, I think Mia feel the same way too. As I listened to my sister's words, I pondered. If Mia and I had a child, would our situation be any different? No, to be honest, having children was probably out of the question at the moment. Lately, I couldn't even hold Mia's hand. Mia, you seem to have a great time with Ashley. What? Is that a problem? Once my sister's family left and we were alone, Mia's attitude turned cold again. No, it's not a problem, but, oh, what was it? The diary exchange. What do you write in it? Mark, it's none of your business. Don't ask about every little thing. Oh, well, yeah, you're right. Sorry. Hey, don't you dare read it. I won't forgive you if you do. Okay. How long will I continue to tread carefully in this marriage with Mia? The chilly air between Mia and me almost broke my spirit. One day, after continuing to live this way, Mia started leaving the house for days without a word. Hey, Mia, where have you been? I was worried. Stop nagging. I just went back to my parents' house for a bit. Even when I confronted Mia upon her return, I only received indifferent responses. At this point, even I ran out of patience. Mia, enough is enough. I grabbed Mia's shoulder forcefully, making her face me. Please, if you have something to say, just say it. We're husband and wife, aren't we? I pleaded, staring intently into Mia's eyes. After a moment of silence, Mia suddenly averted her gaze. Can you not raise your voice? I'm not feeling well. Brushing off my hand, Mia walked to the living room and curled up on the sofa. Mia, could it be that you're... I almost blurted out, are you having an affair? but hastily swallowed the words. There was no evidence. Confronting her now would be pointless. While trying to suppress my smoldering heart, I felt a deep mistrust towards Mia. Then, 3 days ago, the situation took an unexpected turn. During work, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. Wondering who it could be, I answered the phone to hear a stranger's voice. Hello, is this Mark's phone? Yes, speaking. I replied, puzzled, and the man on the phone revealed he was a police officer. He then began to speak in a grave tone. Mark, please stay calm. Your wife, Mia, has been. I was informed that Mia had been in a traffic accident and was in critical condition, unconscious. Shaken by the sudden news, I left work early and headed to the emergency hospital the police had informed me about. Mia. After the treatment, Mia lay on the white bed, appearing as if she was just sleeping normally. There were few external injuries. However, it seemed the impact to her head was severe. Dr. Thompson informed me that whether she would wake up or not was determined by Mia's will to live. So, it's already been 3 days since then. I shook my head as I vividly recalled all the bad memories with Mia. I looked down at Mia, who was lying in the white hospital bed once more. Mia, really, what happened to you? The woman I had always loved now seemed like a completely different entity. Hey, Mia, what do you want? Are you okay with being with me like this? As expected, there was no response. My questions to Mia seemed to be futile, echoing emptily. While staring at Mia's sleeping face, I reminisced about the warm, happy days and the cold, painful ones. What did I do wrong? No matter how much I thought about it, I couldn't find an answer. I believed I had loved Mia in my own way. Maybe it would be easier for both of us if it all just ended here. In the quiet hospital room, my self-deprecating dry laughter oddly resonated. I closed my eyes and began to ponder what to do with our future. Some time passed, and then one day, Uncle Mark, Ashley had come to Mia's hospital room alone. Surprised, I approached Ashley. Ashley, did you come here by yourself? Yeah, I'm on my way home from school. I see. Did you come to visit Mia? Yeah. While giving a small reply, Ashley looked into Mia's face lying on the bed, her eyes filled with sadness. Uncle Mark, Mia will eventually wake up, right? She's just sleeping now, isn't she? I don't know, Ashley. Maybe she might stay like this. I don't want that. Uncle Mark, can't you do something? I'm not sure if I can. Faced with Ashley's tearful plea, I felt complicated emotions. My niece Ashley was so desperate, yet as Mia's husband, I was honestly close to giving up. In fact, I was even starting to wish it would all just end. Mia, please, wake up. Seeing Ashley holding Mia's hand and shedding big tears made me feel unbearable. And then I realized, since Mia became like this, I hadn't shed a single tear. Mia. I was overwhelmed with self-loathing. I needed to clear my head. I wondered if I could somehow leave the hospital room for a moment. Hey, Ashley, aren't you thirsty? I'll go buy you some juice or something. Wait, Uncle Mark. As I tried to make an excuse to leave the room, Ashley stopped me. What's wrong? You know, Mia asked me for a favor. Saying that, Ashley put down her backpack and started rummaging through it. Found it. What Ashley pulled out of her backpack was a letter in an envelope. Uncle Mark, here, this is for you. While offering the letter, Ashley looked up at me with eyes brimming with tears. Mia asked me to keep this letter. It's for you, Uncle Mark. For me, from Mia. Yes, Mia told me to give you this letter if anything happened to her. Saying that, Ashley pressed the letter into my hands. Mia insisted that you read it alone, so I'm going home now. After putting her backpack back on, Ashley left the hospital room as if she was shaking me off. A letter from Mia, for me. I never imagined that Mia, who had become so distant, would write a letter to me. What could it possibly say? Swallowing hard, I opened the envelope. Inside were several sheets of stationery paper. As I unfolded them, Mia's words quietly spread out before me. Mark, if you're reading this letter, something must have happened to me, right? Later, please thank Ashley for keeping her promise. The letter started in an unexpectedly calm tone, catching me off guard. Really, what's all this about? As I read on, my eyes widened in shock. Mark, I had cancer. I underwent surgery, and I was under observation, but they said it could recur at any time. My heart started racing. A cold sensation crawled up from my feet. Surgery. Did Mia go through surgery? I hastily lifted Mia's clothes. Pulling aside her underwear to look at her abdomen, I saw a painful-looking surgical scar. I'm sorry, I really didn't want to say anything until the end, but Mark, it seems I can't always act tough in front of you. Cancer. Don't tell me she was suffering from a cancer. I clenched the letter in my hand. Mia's neat handwriting trembled, and I realized my hands were shaking. At first, I was scared. It all happened so suddenly. I couldn't accept it even though it was about me. But Mark, what scared me the most was causing you pain. No way, this can't be happening. I was speechless. I wanted to believe it was a lie. But it wasn't. The contents of the letter were true. I continued reading the letter with teary eyes. It went on to say, I'm sorry for keeping this a secret. I didn't want to cause you any unnecessary worry. I even asked Dr. Thompson to keep it from you until the end. So please don't wonder why he didn't tell you anything. From this point, the handwriting in the letter began to get messy. I'm also sorry for being cold to you for so long. You're so kind, Mark. I knew you would extend a hand in any situation if you knew about my illness, but I didn't want you to waste your precious time on me. Mark, I had another thing to tell you. The first page of the letter ended there, and I frantically turned to the second page. I can't have children anymore, so I thought it would be better for us to part, even if I got better. That's why I purposely distanced myself from you. I hoped you would come to dislike me enough to want to leave. Who cares about something like that? Shaking my head, I stared at Mia's letter. I've had a bad feeling about Mia's lower abdomen since I saw the surgical scar. But to me, that could never be a reason for us to part. I'm sorry for saying this now. I know that not writing such a letter would be better for you. The ink in this part of the letter was smudged. Surely, Mia must have been crying as she wrote this. I'm sorry, so sorry, but I can't do it. I can't bear the thought of being disliked by you, Mark. It's impossible. Mia. A sob welled up in my throat. I covered my mouth with one hand, trying to hold back the urge to cry out. I'm truly sorry. I would be so happy if you could fulfill my last selfish wish. Mark, I love you. I love you more than anyone in the world. Me too. I love Mia the most in the world. I poured my heart out to Mia through the letter. So please, be happy. I can say something cool like you can forget about me, but more than that, I wish for your happiness, Mark. Forget about you. That's impossible. Mia, Mia. With tears streaming down my face, I held Mia's hand tightly. It's okay, Mark. I'm sure you'll find someone much better than me soon. Just like you did for me. Make your new wife happy. No, I don't want anyone else but you. I squeezed her hand with all my might. Warmth slowly spread from Mia's palm to mine. Mark, listen, I was happy. I'm so glad I met you. Being married to you was truly a joy. Me too. I feel the same way. Emotions turned into tears and flowed freely. I felt utterly pathetic for having doubted me until now. I'm really sorry for leaving you like this. I'll always be praying for your happiness, Mark. Don't talk about leaving me, please, just please. As if praying, as if begging, I pressed Mia's hand to my forehead. I never believed in an afterlife, but now I'm filled with the hope to believe. I hope we can meet again somewhere, so goodbye for now. To Mark, the one I love most in the world. From Mia. Mia. After finishing the letter, I gently let go and firmly grasped Mia's hand with both of mine. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for not realizing sooner. While apologizing, I made a firm resolution. I swear to save you, so don't give up and wait for me, Mia. I was willing to do anything possible. That day, I vowed with all my heart. The next day, I was determined to save Mia and frantically gathered all sorts of information. I looked up reputable hospitals, care methods for comatose patients. I was desperate for Mia to wake up. First, she needs to wake up. Mia's illness could wait for now. I made sure to visit the hospital every day and spend time with Mia. How are you feeling today, Mia? Though there was no response, my spirits were high. I got off work early today. While talking to her, I stroked Mia's limbs and gave her gentle massages. I hoped she would wake up soon. And I wanted her to look at me with her own eyes. With that wish, I continued to care for Mia day after day. Though there were no significant changes, I never gave up. Days of doing the best care I could passed by. Then, one day, a miracle happened. While massaging Mia's hand as usual, I felt her fingertips move slightly. Mia. Was it my imagination? Tentatively, I called out to Mia. Thuthum. Mia. This time, Mia's mouth moved, and she made a sound. It wasn't my imagination. I sighed clearly and heard it. Mia, Mia. I called out to Mia with all my strength, and gently touched her cheek. Then, Mia's eyelids twitched slightly and slowly began to open. Mia. I leaned in to look at Mia's face. Mia was slowly blinking, staring blankly into space. Mia, can you hear me? It's me, Mark. Mark. Mia's eyes gradually focused, capturing my figure. Yes, it's me. Do you recognize me, Mia? You know me, right? Mark, Mia, I'm so glad, truly glad. Overwhelmed with joy and relief, I couldn't help but cry. Mia gazed at me blankly for a while, but then her consciousness seemed to clear. She tried to sit up in a hurry and pushed my hand away. Mark, why are you here? Don't touch me. It's okay now, Mia, everything is okay. I embraced her, preventing her from moving her arms. I read the letter. I understand everything now. Whispering gently in her ear, Mia's tensed body gradually relaxed. It's okay now. Don't hide anything anymore. Let's overcome this together, okay? Holding Mia close, I stroked her head and whispered. Mia sighed faintly, as if letting go of a burden. Ashley, she delivered the letter too soon. Yeah, I guess so. It's meaningless now. Not at all. Ashley did a great job. I truly believed that. If Ashley hadn't handed me the letter at that time, I might never have been able to exchange words with Mia again. Mia, I only have you. Mark, number because It makes no difference if you have a sickness or are unable to bear children. Mark. Mia wrapped her arms gently around my back. Mark, is it really okay? After all, I did such terrible things to you. It's okay. I'm sorry I didn't realize sooner. Mark, I'm sorry, so sorry. I'm sorry. I don't apologize. I understand. It's all okay now. Mark. Burying her face in my chest, Mia began to cry softly. The warmth of her tears spread. I, too, shed tears, moved by the moment. For a while, we just held each other, affirming each other's presence. Since Mia regained consciousness, hectic days have passed. While dealing with Mia's sickness, I sought help from a variety of sources before discovering a hospital that provided successful treatment. Mia, are you ready? Yes, I'm ready. Today was the day we were heading to Germany for Mia's cancer treatment. I had pulled many strings for this day and even managed to get a long leave of absence from work by explaining the situation. Mark. Yeah, what is it? Are you really sure about this? Yes, of course. Mia's question may have had multiple implications. But to me, the meanings were irrelevant. No matter what she asked, my answer would always be the same. Mark, thank you. I'm truly grateful that you chose to stay with me. Of course, I would. We're a couple. Yeah, we are. We're a married couple. Saying this, Mia leaned in closer to me. I gently wrapped my arm around her slender shoulder. Mia, no matter what happens, I'll fight alongside you. Yeah, thank you. We pressed our foreheads together and shared a laugh. No matter what comes our way, I felt that we could definitely overcome it together. That's how I felt. Some seasons have passed since then. To put it simply, Mia's illness has fortunately gone into remission. The surgery she had before also seems to have had a good outcome. Thanks to that, Mia and I, having returned from Germany without enduring much hardship from the treatment, are slowly living our lives together. Mia, what are you reading? It's the diary I exchanged with Ashley. Oh, you're still doing that? Of course, Ashley seems to have a crush on a boy lately. Really, that's kind of a shock. Thinking about how Ashley used to be so little, I sat down next to Mia on the sofa. Hey, can I take a look? No way, it's full of a girl's secrets. I can show you. Oh, I knew it. Mia offered me a mischievous smile, but I couldn't help but wonder what other secrets besides Ashley has a crush might exist. Mark. What's up? Mia looked into my face as if searching for something, then leaned in closer. Did you ever really want kids? As she asked, Mia's expression clouded with uncertainty. Are you worried about that? Yeah, because you love kids, right? You're always so sweet with Ashley, and besides. Before she could continue, I silenced her rambling words with a kiss. After a moment, I gently pulled away, and Mia looked at me with moist eyes, almost as if protesting. That's not fair. You worry too much about things that don't matter. While saying this, I held Mia tightly in my arms. All I want is to be with you forever. That's all I wish for. Yeah, me too. Feeling each other's warmth, Mia and I reaffirmed our love. We will never be apart again. I will never let go. With that firm vow in my heart, I slowly closed my eyes. It might be a little different from what we had imagined. Yet in this moment, we are undeniably happy. Someone help me. As soon as our eyes met, I could tell the college girl was asking for help. And then, I ended up helping her and being late for an important business meeting. This means you're off the fast track now, serves you right. My boss had a smile on his face. I, Lucas, have been better at studying than most since I was a child. I don't remember ever being stuck with my studies, and my grades were always at the top. When I entered middle school, my friends would come up to me every time there was an exam and say, "Teach me how to study." Of course, I never turned them down. My mother always told me, cherish your friends. In fact, that's all she ever said. My father never once told me to study. Perhaps, growing up in such a home environment allowed me to thrive and excel academically. Anyway, I graduated from middle and high school with excellent grades. Afterward, I graduated from a prestigious university and joined a company considered top tier by society. People often told me I was on the fast track, and even as a new employee, I was entrusted with significant responsibilities because I was seen as a rising star. Among my peers, many were envious of me. But of course, there were also those who were jealous. For example, my boss, John, was one of them. Whether or not he's truly jealous of me, there's no doubt that he sees me as an enemy. John would call me out for every little thing, constantly reprimanding me. He criticized things like outdated documents or typos in emails, essentially nitpicking over trivial matters. Honestly, it was troubling and sometimes hindered my work. Still, I couldn't complain directly to John, because he was the right hand of the executive vice president, Mr. Baker. John always followed Mr. Baker around and even accompanied him on his golf outings on weekends. He even went to the extent of driving Mr. Baker to and from lunch in his own car. He was always showing off his connection with Mr. Baker to everyone around. And he would use that connection to act boldly towards his subordinates. Whenever I complained, John would immediately threaten me with, "I'll tell Mr. Baker on you." Needless to say, he never used words like fired or demoted directly. He would just insinuate it, effectively silencing anyone. While silencing his subordinates, John was incredibly weak towards his boss. When the department head, George, said, "Let's go out for drinks today," John would cheerfully reply, "Yes, yes, I'd be delighted to join," and follow along easily. He behaved the same way towards senior managers and division chiefs. In other words, he would flatter those above him in power and dominate those below him to ensure they couldn't oppose him. He was such a troublesome and outdated person. That's why no one in the same department dared to oppose him. In the end, all I could do was use John as a negative example and vow to become a better boss when I climbed the ladder. For now, if I did my job without any mistakes, he wouldn't have any grounds to complain. Thinking this, I was extremely careful with my daily work. All right, finished with today's work. John, please check this. This was when I submitted documents that I had carefully checked as usual. John frowned. I checked everything thoroughly, so there shouldn't be any mistakes with the characters or numbers. Why the frown, then? As I was thinking this, John let out a sigh and said, "Lucas, you haven't made any mistakes recently. What's up?" "I'm about to be promoted to senior staff, and I've had your guidance, John." "Is that so? Then, I have another good job for you. Be at the front of the company at 7 a.m. tomorrow." 7 a.m. Why is that? "It's for a golf outing." John said this to me with a sly grin. When I heard more about it, it turns out that our client, President Johnson, is a fan of golf. Mr. Baker hit it off talking about golf, and they quickly made plans to go together. However, just Mr. Baker and John alone might not make for the most lively outing. So, it seems they've decided to bring John and one other person along. Anyone is fine to bring along, but according to Mr. Baker, beginners take too much time, so they are out of the question. That's when John thought of me, since I was in the golf club during my school days. Even though it's an invitation from John, if it involves Mr. Baker and our client Mr. Johnson, it's a business engagement, which is a serious matter. There was no way a mere employee like me could refuse. Reluctantly, I agreed to go to the business golf outing. And the next day, I headed to the station earlier than usual to catch the train. We were supposed to travel from the company to the golf course in John's car. Moreover, Mr. Baker was supposed to provide the golf clubs and other equipment. So, all I had to do was make sure I wasn't late to the office. It should have been that simple, yet I encountered some bad luck. The train I boarded was packed with commuters, a typical rush hour scene. It wasn't so crowded that I couldn't move at all, but it was uncomfortable enough to make me miss the trains I usually take. As I was thinking that I should have taken a taxi to the office, I happened to look up. That's when I noticed a college girl sitting in the seat in front of me. "What's wrong? You seem bothered by something." Upon closer inspection, next to the college girl, who looked annoyed, was a middle-aged man who appeared to be asleep. He looked like a company employee, half drunk from the morning, leaning on the college girl's shoulder. Moreover, his mouth was slightly open, and with his crossed arms and widely spread legs, he seemed to be subtly touching the college girl. Is this guy pretending to be asleep? I watched closely, but the college girl, out of fear, seemed unable to stand up. Should I help her? As I was contemplating, the college girl, noticing my gaze, looked up at me. To me, her look seemed to be pleading for help. I nodded slightly to the college girl. Understanding my intention, she nodded back. At that moment, I grabbed the college girl's arm and briskly helped her to stand. Ouch! As the college girl suddenly stood up, the middle-aged man who had been leaning on her fell onto the train seat with a thud. Simultaneously, a chuckle spread among the surrounding passengers. "Are you okay?" While addressing the middle-aged man, I maneuvered the college girl behind me to shield her. "What the hell are you doing?" The man glared at me as he stood up. Then, he fiercely punched me in the face. "What are you doing hitting me all of a sudden?" "Shut up." The middle-aged man swung at me again, attempting to hit me. At that moment, I calmly grabbed his arm and declared, "This is assault. I'm calling the police." While saying that, I pushed the middle-aged man to the floor, still holding onto his arm. Thanks to the help of some salarymen around who understood the situation, we managed to subdue the middle-aged man without much trouble. After that, I got off at the next station with the conductor that another passenger had called to the scene. I had to go to the railway police office inside the station to explain what had happened. In the station office, not only was I questioned about the incident, but I also received treatment for the cheek that the middle-aged man had punched. While I was dealing with this, the college girl I helped came over to me. "My name is Emily. Thank you so much for your help. I'd like to offer you something in return." "No, it's fine. But you're a college student, right? Don't you need to go?" "Yes. I just wanted to get an early start on my report, so I'm okay. But it's almost 7 a.m. What about your work?" "I have a golf outing. Wait, it's already 7 a.m. I have to go." Realizing the time after Emily mentioned it, I saw I had only a few minutes left until the 7 a.m. meeting. I rushed out of the station office. "Wait, I want to give you something in return." "Your gratitude is enough. Take care." I shouted back and ran at full speed to the platform. I jumped onto the arriving train without a second thought. I hope I make it. I hope I make it. I wished this on the train, but of course, there was no chance of making it on time. Eventually, I arrived at the meeting spot about 30 minutes late. "You're late, Lucas. What were you doing?" John approached me with a forced smile. He didn't raise his voice because of Mr. Baker, but it was clear he was angry. "Your face is swollen. Did you try to pick up a girl and get punched?" "I was helping a college girl who was being harassed on the train, and I got punched." "What? You helped a college girl? Do you think that excuse will fly? Don't lie so blatantly," John yelled. However, Mr. Baker and the client, Mr. Johnson, had the opposite reaction. "Wow, Your employee is quite brave and commendable. Helping a harassed college girl isn't something anyone can easily do." Mr. Johnson praised me. "He's one of our rising stars, talented, and definitely someone to watch. I'm envious. I'd like to have someone like him in my company." "We won't let him go. Lucas, was it? Anyway, you did a good thing. Well done." Mr. Johnson and Mr. Baker laughed. Seeing this, John could only offer a forced smile. However, once Mr. Baker and Mr. Johnson got into the car, John came over and whispered, "It's because a guy like you tried to show off in front of a girl that you got what you deserved. You're lucky that's all that happened," and sneered at me. But John seemed to be in a good mood all day, perhaps pleased by my injury. His cheering was spirited, and I believe he fully demonstrated his skills as a sycophant. Perhaps thanks to that, both Mr. Baker and Mr. Johnson seemed to be enjoying their golf game in high spirits. Meanwhile, after stumbling at the start, I was desperate to make up for it. I got so carried away that I forgot to hold back and played my best. As a result, I ended up scoring better than Mr. Baker and the others. While they praised me, John later said behind my back, "You should at least know to hold back. This is the worst impression. But don't worry. You're off the fast track now. Serves you right." Excessive deference can be disrespectful. But this was definitely a mistake. While I regretted my actions, I headed home for the day. However, that business golf outing had little impact on my life. I wasn't particularly targeted by Mr. Baker, nor did I receive any complaints from Mr. Johnson. In fact, Mr. Johnson remembered me and even requested my involvement a few times. Half a year passed without knowing whether I had been taken off the fast track or not. As the new term arrived, our company was also set to welcome new employees. Suddenly, John instructed me to give a speech as the employee representative. If I had been given prior notice, I would have been confident in handling it. But it seemed John wanted to see me fail, as he informed me on that day. Being told to give a speech so suddenly, I hadn't prepared anything. "What are you talking about? I'm giving you a chance to redeem yourself after messing up the business golf. Don't you get it? If that's the case, at least give me a heads up the day before." "What? Do you have a complaint?" "No." "Well, do your best. The company's image depends on your speech. It's a big responsibility. There will be coverage by the company newsletter, and if you mess up your speech, you might get fired." In the hallway of the entrance ceremony venue, John patted my shoulder, adding pressure. So you're always nitpicking like this. That explains the pressure at the job interviews." Surprised by the voice coming from behind, we turned around. There stood a young woman with her arms crossed and cheeks puffed in annoyance. "Who are you?" John approached the woman. "Just as you see, I'm a new employee." The woman retorted firmly. I recognized the woman and couldn't help but stare intently at her. Noticing my gaze, she turned towards me. At that moment, the woman pointed at me and exclaimed loudly, "Oh, it's you, the guy from that time. Hi. Long time no see. So you work here. By the way, is your face okay? Any scars left?" As she spoke, she reached out to touch my cheek. That's when I finally remembered her. The college girl from the train. "Jess, remember me? I'm the college girl you helped that time." The woman was Emily, the college girl I had helped on the train. Dressed in a suit, she looked completely different. I remembered she seemed scared of the man at that time, but now she seemed unbothered by John and me, which was reassuring. As I thought this, John smirked and said, "Oh, so you were drooling over the new employees." "What, old man, got a problem?" Emily snapped back at John. "It's nothing special. In our world, being quick with your tasks is expected, but being quick to make the moves on girls and not work isn't something to be praised for." Enough already, old man. Insulting him isn't going to make you look any better. What did you say? Besides, he's my prince, and I won't forgive you if you insult him any further. Presumptuous little girl. Don't you know how to speak to your boss? You're the boss. If you're the boss, then stop putting down your subordinates and strive to be someone your team can trust. Silence. Silence. How did a naive girl like you even get hired? Was it through connections, or did you use your womanly charms? John leered at Emily with a lascivious grin, licking his lips. Feeling a chill, Emily hid behind me. That's when it happened. A low voice echoed from the shadows of the corridor. I'm sorry, but I believe a company should only have competent individuals, even if it involves someone close. I have no intention of showing leniency. Everyone turned towards the source of the voice. There stood Mr. Baker, with a displeased expression. Mr. Baker. John straightened up instantly. At the same moment, Emily ran towards Mr. Baker. Dad. Emily, here you are. Mr. Baker stroked Emily's head as she ran to him. Dad, what? John's eyes darted around in confusion. His face contorted, then quickly turned pale. Overwhelmed with surprise, I could only watch silently as the events unfolded. Then, Mr. Baker approached me and said, "The woman you helped during golf was my daughter Emily, wasn't it?" Yes, it seems so. I was told by Emily about it that night, and seeing your swollen cheek, I thought it might be you, but I couldn't bring Emily to the office. And while I was contemplating, much time had passed. I'm truly sorry for the delayed gratitude. Thank you for helping my daughter. Mr. Baker expressed his gratitude towards me. I awkwardly responded to Mr. Baker's thanks. No, it's okay. I just did what anyone would do. We are so grateful for your help. Mr. Baker expressed his gratitude to me once again. Right after that, Mr. Baker's expression changed completely as he turned to face John. Glaring sharply at John, he spoke in a low, almost threatening voice. John, for someone who's always following me around, you seem to be incapable of even the most basic aspects of managing your subordinates, aren't you? Mr. Baker, that's, well, it seems you lack the ability to learn, so it can't be helped. What do you mean? Staying in the position of manager with your level of learning ability is pointless, so let's transfer you to a department where you can learn how to interact with people better. A transfer. It's not a demotion. You're not being removed from the path to promotion, because you'll be transferred to a department where you have a significant responsibility as a manager. Mr. Baker patted Mr. Thompson on the shoulder with a thud. It was clear what he meant. John just collapsed on the spot. Well, that means there will be an open spot in your department. In other words, it's your turn to be promoted. Just make sure not to mess up your speech, Lucas. Yes, sir. I'm counting on you, then. Mr. Baker patted my shoulder and then left. Left behind, Emily gazed at me with sparkling eyes and murmured, "You're really being counted on, aren't you, big brother?" Well, maybe so. Amazing. And the induction ceremony speech is like representing all the employees, right? You really are a prince. Amazing. So amazing. Emily was jumping up and down, bubbling with excitement like a child. Just watching her made me feel inexplicably nervous. Oh, right. I need to find a perfect spot to take pictures with my phone. See you ahead. Don't expect too much from me. It just makes me more nervous. I let out a wry smile as I watched Emily dash off. In the end, the induction ceremony concluded without a hitch. I was curious about Emily, who was at the front row taking photos of the ceremony, but my speech also went smoothly. Right after the ceremony, Mr. Thompson was called to the HR department and was immediately assigned to be in charge of the supply warehouse. Moreover, It seems he was nominated as the manager of the warehouse. Though the department and title sound respectable, in simple terms, it was just a security guard role. It was a quiet position replacing a retired security guard. On the other hand, in my department where the manager was absent, Mike, the section chief, got promoted to manager. I was also promoted from chief to section chief. And my first task in this new role was to train Emily. Apparently, this was a direct order from Mr. Baker, and the new manager, Mike, relayed it to me with a wry smile. This is almost like an abuse of authority. Isn't this nepotism? Because, as a section chief, you'll work with various employees. You'll have more opportunities to interact with female employees. Just the thought of my prince working closely with other women. Ugh. Emily pouted as she spoke. Seeing her sulk like a child, I sighed and responded. It can't be helped. It's work after all. No way, absolutely not, because you're my prince. Hey, about that, calling me prince, are you planning to make that stick? Everyone in our department has started teasing me, calling me prince. I mentioned it in a low voice, but I couldn't deny the feeling that it was too late. Emily looked puzzled, and the people around us were smirking while listening to our conversation. Several weeks later, we were now being treated as a couple in the midst of a workplace romance by everyone around us. Moreover, rumors had spread that our relationship was officially recognized by Mr. Baker. Moreover, my colleagues would even tease me, saying, "You've snagged a catch." When I told this to Emily, she whispered in my ear with a laugh. "It's too late to back out now, isn't it? So, I'm ready whenever you are." Emily said it jokingly, but I'm sure she was also expecting something. I wasn't against the idea either and was ready to make up my mind. So, I responded with this. "Will you become my princess starting today?" It wasn't the best line for proposing a relationship with marriage in mind, but Emily nodded happily, so I think it was fine. I'll make sure to come up with something more clever when I actually propose. I was already thinking about what to say for the proposal, so I wouldn't panic like I did for that speech.